Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Bale, for that presentation. At this point, tawagin po natin ang ating kasama from Fami, si Ma'am Imelda Estrada. Good morning, ma'am.
I'm coming in live from Cebu, so this is one advantage that we have on this platform kasi madami tayong ma-reach, no? I'm from Cebu, MCN from Davao, and the rest of the team are from Davao, pero we're in one place together. So that's also one advantage. Now, again, as what I've mentioned, it's been 6 months now that we are on a lockdown. And I know that we're not used to this. We're not used to the confines in the corners. Andun lang tayo in the corners of our households, right? Now, siguro most of you will ask, how do we survive and thrive during these current times? No? Siguro a lot of us are so fearful about what this crisis and ano yung impact nito on our plans. Now, si Mr. Bile mentioned earlier about investments and opportunities out there in the market. Yes, there are opportunities out there, and this is also one of the things that I will be discussing as well right now. Now, one piece of advice that I can have for everyone is that instead of probably being fearful and being anxious, we should find ways to survive. You just have to look at your capabilities. Ano yung mga skills nyo ngayon? What are your capabilities? What do you have right now? So another question is that, is it still possible to save money during this financial crisis? Now, if anyone can save during these times, it's practically the tough people out there. Yung mga tao na may positive attitude, yung mga tao na may positive mindset. Now, okay, let's go to pre-COVID. No? When you think about ano ba yung life natin prior to the COVID pandemic, would you still want to live the life that you had before? Now, I think, for me personally, the silver lining of this whole thing, or ano yung mga, I would say advantage, is that, if there is one, is that things have slowed down. And actually, granted, that's the very thing that driving you crazy, yung traffic, yung life natin is always on the go. I think the silver lining right now is that at one point in our life, we're given a time to reflect on the financial life that we have right now and the overall path that we have. Kasi medyo andyan ka sa bahay, medyo you can think about what should be done, no? The most important thing lang is you have to ask the right questions. Okay, if I will ask you, when was the last time you thought about your retirement date? Personal to or when was the last time you sat with your husband and then discussed with your money goals? When was it? So right now, siguro, when was the last time you think about or you discuss about when do you send your kid to school? Okay? If you're working from home right now, siguro that hour that you would have spent on your daily commute and ganyan, you just have to sit down probably and then start asking those questions. Now, ito lang yung sasabihin ko as a financial planner. If you're worried right now about what's happening, no, you're absolutely not alone, because this is, everyone is experiencing this. Everyone is stressed about money, even those who have saved plenty. Medyo nakaka-stress talaga. No one likes to see the economy hurting. Diba? Wala naman. And then, no one would not like our co-Filipino workers na magiging out of work. Now, it's a fact of life that there are a lot of unknowns out there, no, mga that makes us really anxious about what's happening. But you see, you just have to embrace and accept the fact that these too shall pass. As mentioned earlier, even when you look at the stock market, there are volatilities. Market can go up, market can go down, market can be bad, market can be good. But at the end of the day, it will always look better. It will always bounce back. So what I'm going to say is that we're going to come out of this crisis in a positive way, wherein people will have to save more than they ever had before. If you try to look at the government agencies natin ngayon, and even the financial markets and businesses, they're closely tracking how the COVID will affect, or the COVID crisis will affect our economy. So, ano yung mga likely scenarios and how can we prepare for the potential short and long-term consequences of this? Take a look at the central bank. Yung central bank around the world, even our very own central bank, are already proactively intervening. They're now intervening. When you say intervene, kasi they're in charge of the monetary policies. Yung mga palisiyan ng central bank would affect where the interest rates will go. And syempre, itong central bank, ibabalanse ng central bank kung anong magiging outcome nito if we're going to raise the interest rates or if we're going to cut the interest rates. Right now, most central banks, which includes our own central bank, they are cutting the interest rates to as low as less than 2%. It's because they want money to circulate into the economy. They want to pump up the economy, which means that they want people to go into business again. That's why if you borrow money, it's now cheaper because they're cutting the interest rates. Okay, so those are the measures that our government right now is doing. And they are very committed to that. And they're using all possible measures just for our economy to bounce back. Okay, so anyway, I'd like to start by showing you my slides, to begin with my slide. Okay, I'll share this to you. And I'll ask you if you can see this. Okay. Does anybody, okay, Sally, can you just know if the slide is okay na? Okay, for a while, huh? Okay. Is it okay now? Can you have the thumbs up, Sal? Okay. So what you see here is the Philippine stock market. This is the PSEI for the last 30 years. Na-mention to kanina ni Bile about the Philippine stock market. I just would like to go into details of this because I'd like you to more or less be aware of what's happening and how the Philippine stock market reacts. The Philippine stock market is an avenue wherein big corporations, blue solid, rock solid corporations, the likes of Ayala, SM, Jollibee, are there. They're opening up their companies, for you to be a shareholder of their companies. So what these corporations are doing is that they listed their companies and then they're offering it to the public so that if you are an individual, if you are a cooperative who want to share on the profits of these corporations, all you have to do is buy shares from these corporations. So that's how the Philippine stock market is. So it gives you opportunity, as mentioned earlier. It's because you see, ano ba naman yan? Magiging shareholder ka ng Jollibee. Ano ba naman yan? Magiging shareholder ka ng SM. So these are one of the benefits that you can have. Now, all of this is being translated to what we call as index. Kaya itong graph na ito, the blue line that you see there, is the movement of the Philippine stock market for the last 30 years. So, totoo yun. And you will see on the boxes, siguro yung boxes dito, these are the different crises or these are the different major events that happened for the last 30 years. At ano yung impact nun sa PSEI? The Pinatubo eruption, the Asian financial crisis, yung VAT increase natin in sometime in 2007, yung different events that practically moves up the market or declines the market. So anyway, just to summarize this, if you try to look at this is the graph for the last 30 years, and this is the graph that we've seen the different crises whatsoever. Now, kasi ang stock market practically reflects the economy. This chart reflects the sentiment of the business. Okay, sentiment. And this also reflects the sentiment of the people. Ano yung sentiment? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? So, ma-reflect yan on how the people look at the companies, if they're going to buy or if they're going to sell. So this is practically a reflection about investments in general. So very exciting, right? So feelings and sentiment are being captured in the way the prices of the market go. There are volatilities, but take note of the trend, okay? Take note of the trend. When I say trend, you would see the trend upside. So when the market is down, there's no other way for it to go but up. Okay? So again, na-mention ko earlier, the three major crises that practically affect the Philippine economy, and I'm sure most of you, if millennials kayo, siguro naka-experience kayo dito or naka-witness kayo dito. The first was in 1989 to 1990. And this is the political instability. You remember before, during the Aquino administration, there was unstable government and so on. Then in 1997, my financial crisis tayo is a regional crisis, financial meltdown. Then in 2008, major yun, kasi that's a global crisis, which means that we have the collapse of the housing market, we have the financial contagion, then we have the, you know, I don't know kung naka-remember kayo, Lehman Brothers yun, bailouts here. So parang at the time, you would say, end of the world na talaga. But you see what happened? Markets were down by almost 58% to a high of almost 80%. But again, after, like say, several years, it bounced back again. So if you look at this graph in 2008, I don't know if you can see my pointer. Ito 2008 ha. After the 2008 crisis, global crisis in 2008, where does the market go? It went up. Went up. So again, there's no other way. If it's really bottom, ang term natin dyan, bottom, which means nasa bottom na yung prices, very cheap na siya, wala na talaga tong papuntahan. Paakyat na. Now, where are we right now? We are in a crisis. We are in what we call as the COVID crisis. But the difference is that this COVID crisis is, again, this is not a financial crisis. This is a health crisis. And, you know, we see a lot of lockdowns. We see a lot of, you know, people na nagiging unemployed because of this, because we cannot get out and everything. So again, this is another crisis that we are into right now. But then again, what I'm saying is that no matter, okay, this will be better. We're still looking at a brighter picture. No, one thing is good, and this is coming from our fund management team, that the fundamentals of the economy of the Philippines is very strong. Okay, if you try to look at the inflation rate is very contained. This is the rate at which prices of goods and services are going. Okay, the interest rates is low. Okay, we have what we call as the gross international reserves. Yung dollar reserves ng Philippines is quite significant pa. So the fundamentals is strong. Now, no matter what's happening outside, siguro the most important thing is that we have to stay the course. And not only staying the course is the most important thing, we have to review the course. When I say review, what do you have right now? Anong excess ng co-ops mo? Okay? If you're talking about a personal investment, how much is the operating expenses that you have right now? So you have to revisit that right now. So the most important thing is not what's happening probably outside, but also looking at inside, looking at what you have. Okay, so just briefly, just would like to share with you that, you know, all of us are really having that goals or financial plans in place. That's why this is also the reason why we're having this, no, to give you some financial literacy, because it's really very important for an individual to prepare for the future. Not only individual, but any organization like a cooperative. You know, now in the course of building your wealth, if you're an individual, the most important thing is, look at this. It's not how much you make, but it's how much you keep that matters. You see, how much you keep, it's because I think the most precious gift that you can give to yourself is you have to pay yourself first before anybody else. Kasi ang nangyari nito, if you have an income, ang mangyari is that what you do, you pay MCWD or whatever is your water facility there, you pay the electricity, you pay everything, and then wala na natira sa sarili mo. So, the most important thing is to keep you to yourself first. In fact, it would also be best if you delay some gratifications para you can build up that savings. Okay? So, well, siguro the formula that we'll have to use, and I'm sure most of you would know this, is that you just have to use the formula, very simple. And this is the most popular, the most common formula that we always hear. Income minus savings before you spend. You know, ang dami nang nagsasabi nito, income minus savings. Yes, income minus savings. But are you doing it? Do you push yourself into action? Do you set aside for yourself? Kanina na-mention about monthly investment plan. And that's the reason also why we're here, to introduce you that. Para you can really be mapursige tayo na dapat mag-invest ka. You have to pay yourself first before anybody else. You just have to keep something for yourself. If you're still young, you know, time is on your side. You can really build it up. You know, build it up day in and day out. You know, I always is very passionate about this formula because this is the one I've been using for the last 2 decades already. And it helped me a lot. And you know what? It will become a habit. If you save, this will become a habit and a very good habit. So that's also the reason why we are introducing ourselves to you. We are an asset management company and we work hand in hand right now with MCN. Okay, we work hand in hand with MCN right now. We are in partnership together, no? Para at least we are an intermediary. We are a company that, you know, offers a mutual fund as discussed earlier. So we are an asset management company. So briefly, let me just introduce to you our company. So our company is First Metro Asset Management, Inc. Okay, so we are an affiliate of First Metro Investment, also part of the Metro Bank Group and companies. And you know naman, if you talk about the Metro Bank Group, this is one of the leading financial conglomerate in the Philippines. Okay, so it has grown to become a premier universal bank in the Philippines and has been consistently regarded as the most important player in the Philippine banking system. So yon. So we are First Metro Asset Management Inc. Okay. Now, Fami, if you try to look at Fami, this is practically a unique partnership. So we have a unique partnership with First Metro Investment Corporation, or FMIC, of which they own 70% of First Metro Asset, as well as SEA, Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines, and the Marist Brothers Congregation of the Philippines. So this is a unique partnership among 3 institutions. It started to focus actually on education, schools, parishes. So yun. Right now, Fami grew into one of the leading asset management managers in the country. So what we have right now is a big name. What we have right now is a rich history, a track record, and the resources behind it, of course, is Metro Bank. Okay? Now, I would say that in any organization, it all begins with the right leadership. So I would say our pride right now practically is our people. So these are just the board of directors that we have. I just would like to mention 2 of the most prominent and very reputable, you know, board members or people leading the organization right now. Mr. Sebastian, no, Mr. Francisco Sebastian, is concurrently our chairman right now, who joined Metro Bank in 1997 as president of the First Metro Incorporation, a position he held for the last 13 years until he became chairman in 2011. He was a former investment banker in Ayala International Finance, He graduated magna cum laude in economics from Ateneo de Manila University. We also have our president and CEO right now of Fami. She is the strength, I would say. She is the strength of behind Fami right now. She has more than 30 years in the financial service, where more than half were spent in asset management. Okay, she has a track record and experience as well in the global companies that we manage. Now, the investment committee, this is very important because you see we're an asset management group. The investment committee would decide or set the guidelines, the risk parameters when we invest. If you try to look at the Philippine stock market, there are over almost 300 companies listed there. Name it, we have it. From industrial, from property to consumer, big corporations. And these corporations are raking in profits. So madami sila. But it is now up to the investment committee and the management team to really select the best. Ano yung ilalagay nila sa fund na ito? Not only looking at what's happening now, but future. What's the potential earnings? Anong opportunities makukuha natin long term? Kasi if you try to look at the mutual fund can be considered as a medium to long-term vehicle. Magagamit natin to for long-term objective. If you're a co-op, you want to have some projects in the future, you build it now. Ano yung savings? If you want to have a new office, if you want to diversify, this is, if using the mutual fund can be a very good avenue to build that up. Ika nga kanina may mga resources tayo na pwede nating malagay dito. And even for individuals. So this investment committee, which is composed of very dignified, respected gentlemen from the financial industries, averaging like years in research, years in equity analysis and portfolio management. You see, these are the ones who will be in charge of picking the right stock for you. Okay? They do analysis. They compare. They analyze. What's on the ground? Anong implication ito if we're going to pick? So it's not that easy to have this. But for your end, as a shareholder of the fund, all you have to do is, take advantage of this. All you have to do is invest. And we take all of that. You see, ang importante lang naman ng fund management is that we're not only managing your funds in good times. The most important thing as well is to manage the funds in bad times. And that's precisely the reason why we're here. The main value that we give you as a shareholder when you are into a mutual fund is fund management. That's the value that we give you. Fund management. When you place your money in a time deposit or a savings account, automatically the bank will tell you, this is your interest. Because you're not a shareholder. They're going to get your money, turn around, and also lend that out. But if they make money more than that, sa kanila na yun. But in a mutual fund is a different thing. Kasi sa mutual fund, whatever profit or losses we make, it will all go back to the shareholder. So yun, that's one advantage. And these are our investment committee. The investment process is also very important. And Fami takes note of that very well. So if you try to look at the investment process, this is practically our key competitive edge. The investment process that we have. No? The depth of the resource, the experience, the processes, and what do you get? You get the benefit of this is economies of scale. With 5,000 minimum investment for individuals, you can get practically economies of scale, which means andyan na yan. So the research and everything, the value, the companies that we are invested in. It was shown earlier in Sal Focus that we are invested into different big corporations. That's right, big corporations. So it is a basket of different big corporations. And Sal Focus is a fund that practically is invested into even a government security. Now, even a corporation, ang dami, not less than 10 corporations are in that basket. So that's economies of scale. And that's an advantage. Another thing, we utilize the depth of Metrobank's credit analysis. You know the name, we have that group, we have that team on the ground. Okay, so that's the investment process. And I just would like to more or less, share that to you because that's also very important when you have a fund manager. We are your fund manager, but we kind of take that very seriously in terms of the risk parameters until when, ano yung objective ng fund na ito, then we have to come up with that. So that's what we call as a very stringent, disciplined investment process that Fami is adopting right now. Okay? So, okay. For a while, kasi hindi nag-move. Okay. Yeah, vision and mission. Also would like to share with you that the vision that we have for the mutual fund industry is to become the preferred mutual fund provider in the country. So since we are stewards of that money, we also would like to promote investment literacy. And I think we are hand in hand with that with MCN. Financial literacy programs, savings, investment. That's what we'd like to propagate for the Filipino people. Create innovative investment solutions, and of course, a very exceptional customer experience. In fact, Sally is with us right now. Sally Kima is the one in charge for MCN and is our person head in Davao, and she will be with you along that line when it comes to support. When it comes to support coming in from Fami itself. So that's our vision and mission. So just briefly, siguro I'll just run down the Fami funds that we're offering. Of course, if you try to look at the funds that we have, we're an asset management company that offers a family of funds. So not only self-focused, we have also other funds that are conservative, that are moderate funds, and that are aggressive funds. Why do we classify this into conservative, moderate, aggressive? Because we also talk about the different investors. Ang different investors kasi, may mga conservative din, may mga moderate investors din, at may mga aggressive investors. That's why it's very important for you to really determine ano yung risk appetite mo. What's your risk appetite? Are you the conservative one? You see, so dapat you have to match your investment objective with the right investment vehicle. So that's just very important. But before that, you have to determine anong gusto mo, what's your goals. And then try to determine ano yung risk appetite mo. So that's how it goes. Basic yun. That's really basic. So we can more or less guide you, ano yun. But of course, self-focus is a very important fund because self-focus is a balance fund. Balance would mean invested in stocks as well as invested in bonds. Yon. So we have to have that balance. And of course, risk and time horizon. Now, of course, Fami is also FAB, meaning we have the right features of the fund. We have, of course, the advantages and the benefit that you can get when you are into the mutual fund of Fami. If you try to look at the features, as I mentioned earlier, we have very conservative funds because we're invested in bonds, government securities. If you also try to look at the balance fund that we have, mix lang ito ng stocks and bonds. Okay, so if you want appreciation, na mention kanina, appreciation would be yung capital mo will go up over time. That's expected. That's appreciation. So you can only get that if significantly ang nasa investment portfolio mo ay may mga stocks. Kasi ang stocks lang naman ang can give you capital appreciation. Well, a little bit of the fixed income as well. But most of it stocks. Kasi, okay, tingnan mo yung Ayala. Ayala started with just an Ayala Corporation. But then ngayon, ang dami na nilang mga subsidiaries, ha? May mga properties na sila, may telecommunications na sila, and that will have an impact on the price of Ayala. If the companies are expanding, you would expect that the price per share over time will also go up. So that's an advantage. So you are not limited. Now, Well, we have that in the sole focus for the balanced fund, mix of stocks and bonds, and capital growth. No? When you go into stocks, you expect capital growth. So advantage, as mentioned earlier, and just like a mutual fund, professional management. I'd like to emphasize this, no? Ang dami kasing professional fund management ngayon. But then, the fund managers are there to give value to you. You know, to help you achieve your dreams. Yun yung importante dyan eh. Kasi dapat long-term kami, hindi kami yung overnight companies na mataas yung price mo, pagkatapos nawawala naman. So, in here, no. We have that name to protect and we manage the funds in good times. Yes, we give you a best result in good times, but the most important thing, how are you managing the funds in bad times? You know, makikita nyo magaling ang fund manager in bad times. Kasi if you would see, paano nila na-manage yung funds in bad times? Okay? So you would see, you would have to differentiate. You can now differentiate between a man and a boy. No? Kasi very manly ka talaga pag you can manage this in bad times. Diba? So I will show you later the awards received by Fami. You know, we're number 1 when it comes to equities. Number 1 tayo ha, when it comes to equities among all the asset management companies. Okay, so we're liquid because again, shares. So what you have is that what you do is that you sell shares, you buy shares, you're a shareholder. That's one very advantage thing that you have when you are a shareholder of Fami. Tax-free because again, under the comprehensive tax reform program, all earnings derived from the mutual funds are tax-exempt. Okay? Benefits, ang daming benefits. Of course, the reason, as mentioned earlier by Bile, is that ang reason that you have to invest, aside from having those goals, is of course to see to it that you beat the inflation rate. Kasi kasi ang bibilhin natin ang tataas ng mga presyo. Tapos ang pera mo nasa less than 1% lang. Anong mangyayari ngayon? So you have to more or less invest on an instrument that gives you a percentage higher than inflation rate. What's the inflation rate right now? We're just hovering around 3, almost 3 to 4%. No? So that's the inflation rate right now. So that would mean you invest higher than that. Or you invest higher than what the fixed income instruments are giving. Because you may be saving your money probably, but inflation will eat up the value if yung lalagyan mo is lower than inflation rate. Okay? And diversification. Right now, especially that we are in a crisis, very important for us to diversify. Diversify. So, Sole Focus alone is a very diversified fund. It's because it's invested in stocks, it's invested in bonds. Now, you also have to diversify into mutual funds. Kasi you have your fund manager here. At least alam natin, with all the research that we have, we can more or less manage the volatility, manage the challenging times right now. Okay? So, again, we have these different funds that we have. And hindi ko na i-mention to kasi na-mention na to earlier. But then siguro, just to give you a picture, we also have what we call as the Equities Fund. This is our first Metro Save and Learn Equity Fund. Yung equity is for those aggressive investors. If you're an aggressive investor, you can more or less invest in a diversified portfolio of stocks. Okay? When you say portfolio mix, this is where we're investing the money when it comes to industries. Kasi may holding industries, may property, may services, banks and financials, and so on. So see how diversified it is. Very diversified. May holding firm ka, may property, may services, may banking ka pa. Diba? So, ito, if you see, ano yung mga specific companies that we are holding on, ito yon, SM, Ayala, JG Summit, BDO, yun. Okay, can you invest this on your own? Most of us cannot probably. But through the mutual fund, through MCN, and through Fami, we can more or less participate in the benefit that these corporations are going to give. And this can be a very good vehicle for everyone who really is saving for the future. And we have the income fund, also a banner fund that we have. Kung conservative ka, if gusto mo lang no volatilities, okay ka lang with a certain rate of return but higher than inflation rate and higher than what the banks are giving, ito yon. We also have the first Metro Save and Learn fixed income fund, government securities. And we also have another fund, kasi yung mga banner fund lang naman yung mini-mention ko, no? The Philippine Index Fund as well. So we're tracking the Philippine Stock Market Index. We duplicate ano yung nilalagay sa Philippine Stock Market Index. Then we have that in the fund as well. Okay? And of course, the consumer fund. The consumer fund is exposed to the consumer industry. Earnings of these consumer companies are derived from food, sales activities that they have, purely consumer. So again, industrial services, holding firms, kung gusto nyong malaman ano to, these are the Jollibee, Pure Gold, URC, ito mga big corporations. So we also have that as one of our banner funds. Okay. Why the consumer fund? Of course, right now, if you try to look at the consumer growth story right now, consumer spending has practically been the driving force behind the growth of the Philippine economy. So ito yung households contributing on the aggregate expenditures. It's practically, if tingnan mo yung Pilipinas, is practically a consumption-driven economy. So medyo, that's why we also have a fund that takes advantage of that as well. So fund to year date performance, no? Ito yung mga performance ng funds natin in the industry. We're number 2 out of 13 of the Save and Learn Equity Fund. We're number 1 out of 8 of the Save and Learn Index Fund. We're number 4 out of 13 of the First Consumer Fund, and number 4 out of 11 of the Save and Learn Fixed Income Fund. You see, in the asset management companies, ang dami namin, but you see, Fami is specifically, given a recognition when it comes to fund performance. No, we started receiving awards since 2018. So these are just the several awards that we received since 2018, and that will show you how we manage the money. That will show you how we take care of those funds entrusted to Fami. Not only that, we are given that recognition. And it doesn't stop there. 2019, we also received several awards. And in fact, the latest that we receive right now is the most innovative wealth manager right now in the country. We are recognized by the International Finance Police. You see, for the 2 consecutive years. Okay, 2 consecutive years. Okay. Nako, thank you na pala. O sige. So, that's who we are. Siguro I'd like to introduce then as well our senior relationship manager based in Davao. She's Sally. So she usually coordinates with the co-ops and of course MCN. So anyway, I'd like to thank you all. We hope and we're looking forward to a very strong partnership moving forward with Fami, MCN, and the rest of the co-ops as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Ma'am Imelda, for that very insightful presentation. Okay, I guess, Ma'am Reg, at this point, we're going to entertain questions.
Okay po. We have question po sa Facebook from the comments since we are Facebook Live. I think this question ay talaga pong para sa inyo, Ma'am Roda. From ICDEC, from Infanta Cooperative Development. Infanta Cooperative, ayan. ICDEC from Infanta Quezon. So it's about time for cooperatives to be well versed with the investment role and capacitate ourselves in managing it. However, I would like to comment on the presentation that one of the potential investable fund is the reserve fund. But based from our own experience, we did exactly that, but it was reflected as CDA findings because in the law, RA 9520 specifically states that the only acceptable investment for the reserve fund placement are government security and time deposit. So, yun ma'am. I think it's Ma'am Rhoda is the right one to answer that question.
Baka may mali po doon sa interpretation kasi ang alam ko, ang nasa law is government-backed securities. Government-backed, meaning sanction ng government. So, kahit po yung investment in the stock market, pwede po yun kasi registered with the SEC ang mga companies that are holding these investments. We already have a discussion with CDA on self-focus and okay naman sila. Baka sa interpretation nga lang po, we should tell CDA that. By the way, this is not the first mutual fund that is organized for co-ops. Meron pong nauna sa atin ng mga, I guess, 5 years. And most of the big cooperatives are invested in that mutual fund and in our mutual fund. And definitely, a portion of their GRF is what was used para dun sa investments nila in the mutual funds. Check natin ang RA 9520 and let's have a dialogue discussion with CDA. Kasi ang pagkakaalam ko, government-backed security po siya. Hindi government securities lang.
Thank you po, Ma'am Rhoda. Okay, there is no more question in our chat room sa Zoom. Ganun din po sa mga comment section. But siguro po, naalala ko po, no, we have talked about this last board meeting. Ang question ko po, like what we have talked about it, pwede po ba ang members natin, no, through the cooperative ay mag-save sa SAL Focus? And in what way?
Yes, pwede po. That's why we presented the monthly investment program. Although it doesn't have to be monthly, pwedeng regular investment program. So we can offer that to our members. The first step is for, of course, the cooperative to open an account with Self-Focus. And as to how we're going to do that, tayo po and together with UNECO, we are going to assist you with that. It's the usual na ginagawa natin is like when we open an account with the bank, ganun po, yung may mga board resolution, meron tayong mga forms na fill upan and all that. If your cooperative is interested, you can contact UNECO and contact us. Then we will guide you through the process of enrolling dun sa Self-Focus. So once the co-op already has an account with Self-Focus, then pwede na rin pong mag-open ng individual accounts ang ating members. So just like the co-op, meron din po tayong mga forms na fill upan natin. And after that one, no, it's going to be very easy. You can even top up your investments through electronic means. Di po ba, Ma'am Sally? Kahit even through GCash, pwede po. So
GCash, ma'am, hindi pa siya available right now. So, ano lang po muna, ma'am, over-the-counter payment.
Okay. Sige, thank you, Ma'am Sally. I guess, Ma'am Reg, our biggest challenge ngayon is aside kasi very easy lang yung processes. The biggest challenge should be to convince our members to start investing already. Especially po dun sa mga cooperatives na hindi savings and credit, yung iba po ang business. Kasi sa savings and credit co-ops, to some extent, yung mga members natin hopefully nagsisave regularly, so they already have acquired that habit of saving. But for other types of co-op, maybe this would be a very good vehicle to get them started into the habit of saving and investing. And Ma'am Reg, meron po palang question na kinorse through kay Bale. Bale?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir Vale? I'm sorry. Oh, yan. As to unmute na po. Okay na, Sir Vale?
Yes, so here's the question. I'm gonna read it. If we are to rank the basis for investment as to their degree of importance, the risk, either return, risk, safety, and liquidity, how will you give weights to this criteria? Is it an all or nothing basis? for the decision to invest? It's from Dr. Gilchor Cubillo from Cavite State University, MPC.
Okay. Bale, would you like to answer that?
Okay po. Also, what happens is this etong apat na to, the return, risk, safety, and liquidity, this four goes together. So it can't be yung kailangan risk lang, kailangan return lang. Kasi for example, itong risk and return, always talaga sila together eh. And siguro kung if ever na i-rank, it should be based on the preferences of the investor. Kung saan yung mas importante sa kanila. But definitely, all these four should be there. Should be looked into, yung liquidity, safety, and risk. So it depends on the profile of the investor, kung ano yung mas i-prioritize niya or kung saan yung mas bigyan niya ng importance. Kasi every investor has a different profile, has a different like kung magkano yung kaya niyang i-invest, kung magkano yung risk tolerance niya, kung ano yung nature ng investment na gusto niya. So all those factors, the investor has to consider. So it's up to the yung yung profile nga. It's up to the profile of the investor kung saan yung mas dapat ito. Yun po yung.
Okay, I guess all of us will come out wiser from this if we hear what Ma'am Imelda has to say about that. Ma'am, can we request something from you? Pwede pa unmute si Ma'am Imelda.
Okay. So, am I clear, Ms. Rod?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
As Boyle has said, you see there are the different metrics for you to check kung ano yung priority or whatsoever. But I have to go back to the basic. The basic is you have to determine your goal. What do you really want? That's the most important thing. You have to look beyond the return. So, yan ang importante is because wherever the market will go, anong challenges mo, you have to stick to your goal. Anong gusto mo? How much do you want? When you're going to achieve this? Anong time frame mo and ano yung risk appetite mo? So, that's the most important thing. Now, if you have that goal set in place, then you should have a plan. Ano yung plans mo? Anong type of investment vehicle probably can bring you from point A to point B? So that's the most important thing. Kasi if you try to look at the several investment vehicles right now, ang dami. Kaya nga sinabi na vehicle yan eh. Kasi that's really a vehicle that will bring you from point A to point B. So, again, have those goals very clear to you, anong gustong mangyayari even in co-ops. You have to be very clear about what you want for your co-op, how much amount, when do you want to have that, and everything else. Then you have to set up the plan. Ano yung plan? How do we get there? Ano yung investment vehicle na gagamitin mo? So that's the one thing. So stick it out. And I think the last but not the least, have a long-term perspective. You will not go wrong if you have that long-term. So have that perspective, have that in mind. Because in times like this, like the challenges that we are facing right now, in every crisis that we have, you see, so at least that can more or less give you a direction, a long-term view. And as an investor, I guess you just have to stay the course. But again, as I mentioned earlier, dapat hindi ka lang stay the course. You have to revisit the course on a regular basis, especially with what's happening right now. Ms. Rod?
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ms.
Okay.
Rich, with regards to the question kanina, tiningnan ko yung ating RA 9520. It's in Article 78 of the code. Ang nakalagay po is that the co-ops may invest its capital to any of the following. At ito yung isa. In securities issued and or guaranteed by the government. So, hindi po siya exclusive na government-issued securities lang. Pati po yung guaranteed by the government, which we mean to say those companies that hold a license, no? Given a license by the Securities and Exchange Commission to solicit investment from the public. Okay?
Thank you po, Ma'am Roda, for clarification. I think may mga taga-CDA din na nakikinig sa atin sa ating FB Live. Another question from Tansa Employees, Multipurpose Cooperative. Kung gusto na po daw nilang mag-invest, how much as cooperative, and who can assist us to present the plan to our board of directors and members?
Yes, for the minimum investment is only 5,000. Pero sabi ni Bale, he has yet to come across a co-op that invested only 5,000 initially. So pwede po niyong dagdagan. But with 5,000 pesos, you can already open a cooperative account. And as to kung sino yung pwedeng mag-present before your board of directors, pwede po kayong pumili kung sino sa amin from UNECO, from MCN, or from Fami. We'd love to be with you during the presentation. Schedule na lang po natin.
Opo. At sa napag-usapan po namin sa board meeting, no, Ma'am Marie, she's listening right now sa FB. Pwede po kami mag-present through Zoom, no? Hindi po face-to-face since bawal po ngayon. At for our safety din po, magkakaroon po kami ng parang bootcamp. So after this investment forum, through our FB Live and our Zoom, pwede po tayong mag-present through Zoom sa ating mga board of directors, the UNECO, together with MCN and Fami, no po, mag-schedule lang po tayo. Ihingi na lang po namin siguro yung schedule o oras ng inyong board meeting for us to present this investment po. And also another question from General Trias City Employees, Multipurpose Cooperative, Sir Alexander Pere. Siguro question niya rin to, maybe as individual, magkano raw po yung base amount and how much as individual po?
Let's ask Ma'am Sally. Ma'am Sally, for individual investors, magkano yung initial na investment?
Pag hindi regular, ma'am, it's 5,000. But if they enroll dun sa monthly investment na regular savings program natin, investment program natin, they can invest for as low as 1,000 pesos or 500 per payday.
Yes. So if your cooperative will adopt the MIP, the monthly investment program, or offer this to the individual members, pwede pong 1,000 lang po, sir, yung initial investment natin. And then we can top up later for as low as 100 pesos. Tama po ba, ma'am Sally?
At least ma'am, 500 per payday, pero
okay.
it should be, kailangan mabuo yung 1,000. So, i-remit sa amin at the end of the month, kailangan 1,000 siya.
Okay. Sige.
Okay, another question, Ma'am Roda, sa akin po. So how we will, yung pagsali po ba ng cooperative sa SAL Focus ay may membership fee? Like what other investment corporation po na ginagawa na meron pong membership fee bago po sila makapasok sa mga investment scheme?
Walang membership fee, ma'am. But we do have yung sales load when you upon investing. So, meron pong up to 2% sales load charge when you invest. So, if you invest 5,000 pesos, merong 2% na sales load. Yung investable money mo na lang would be 4,800 because the 200 would be deducted, no? Parang entry fee. However, the good thing with this arrangement, unlike in other mutual fund, ang 90% po ng 200 pesos ay babalik din po sa kooperatiba. So that will be given back to the co-op as another income stream para sa co-op po.
Thank you po, Ma'am Roda. Siguro another question from me. Ako yung nagtatanong. Ayan po, siguro ini-explore ko lang din po no, para sa ating mga kasama sa FB Live, ganun din po sa atin sa Zoom. How we will monitor our investment, yung ano na, magkano na yung kinita niya. Kasi ano to pwedeng, syempre at this time na nasa pandemic pa tayo, we're still monitoring the market, bumababa, tumataas, bumababa, tumataas. So how we will monitor our investment, both on the cooperative and on the individual?
For both co-op and cooperative, you'll be given an access, anong tawag doon? Online access to your account records through Fami's website. So pwede po nyong i-check every minute kung magkano na yung value ng inyong shares. So real time din po lalabas doon kung ano yung value. Kasi everyday pag upon close of the market, doon nag-change yung value natin. So online po, not a problem. Kahit po nasa malayong lugar tayo, Fami is in Metro Manila, that would not be a problem kasi online makikita po natin yung value ng ating shares. And ang maganda dun sa interface is that you can actually look at the historical trend ng growth or downfall ng investment mo in the fund. So ako nag-enjoy ako nung nagka-access ako doon.
Thank you po, Ma'am Roda. How about sa individual po? Ito po ay, kasi kung individual as personal investment niya po, tapos through the cooperative, paano po yun?
Ask natin si Ma'am Sally. Ma'am, pag MIP ba, may access din?
Mayroon naman, Ma'am Roda, access since magkakaroon sila once they open the account, magkakaroon sila ng sarili nilang account code number and client ID. So, makaka-access pa rin sila, ma'am. Kahit monthly investment or regular investment, pwede. As long as they have the client code number.
Thank you, Ma'am Sal. So yun, Ma'am Reg, kahit anong klaseng account po, we can still access it online.
Okay. Thank you po. Thank you very much po. Ayan. Any question pa po? Wala pa pong nagpa-pop up. Ito pong ating FB Live ay makikita within 5 days. Mapapanood po ito ng paulit-ulit at kung sino pa po yung makakapanood, within 5 days po ay siya ay nasa online. Ayan po. So kung may mga pop-up questions, so siguro po this coming hours or this coming days, siguro po i-email na lang po namin or ipo-forward po namin sa MCN, sa MCN with the Fami para kung sa mga questions po and sa mga cooperatives po na nakikinig sa amin ngayon sa FB and through Zoom, pwede po tayong mag-request ng schedule ng Zoom meeting sa ating mga board of directors po para po ma-present pa po namin sa inyo yung about the SAL focus investment po. So, I think there is no more question sa FB. Wala na rin akong personal question. Ayan po. So, ito ma'am, ang Fami, tama? Fami ang magde-decide kung saan nila ilalagay yung ating investment. No? Based, kasi sila po yung mag-a-analyze ng market. Hindi po kami yung personally magde-decide na ay ilagay niyo yung pera ko sa Jollibee, ay ilagay niyo yung pera ko sa Meralco, ay ilagay niyo yung pera ko sa Microsoft. Tama, Ma'am Roda and Ma'am Sally?
Ma'am. So that's the difference between direct investing and investing through mutual funds. Kasi indirect, ikaw lahat magde-decide, no? But what stocks to buy, what stocks to sell. But in mutual fund, it's the job already of the fund manager to choose on your behalf. So less hassle on your part. And sabi nga ni Bale kanina, kailangan sa isang fund manager, kailangan talaga yung good research. Not only in the Philippines, but as well as abroad. What is the economy, anong ekonomiya sa ibang bansa? Because all of those information will be factored in. Ipafactor yan lahat kasi it will affect the economy. So yan, napakahirap na trabaho for the fund manager rather kung tayong gagawa, baka walang mangyayari kung tayong gagawa personally dahil limited yung time natin and the expertise.
And by the way, Ma'am Reg,
Okay
I'd like to
po.
take this opportunity to
Yeah.
also inform the co-op that Fami would be willing to also act as your dedicated investment manager. Hindi lang po sa sole focus kayo mag-i-invest. Ma'am Imelda kanina showed you various funds managed by Fami. Kung gusto nyong maging very aggressive, like a portion of your fund gusto nyo dun sa very aggressive and high earning, pwede, so that's the time that you're going to decide already kung saan nyo gustong ilagay. Gusto nyo dun sa mga aggressive funds or dun sa mga moderate funds or dun sa very conservative funds. So pwede po din yon. Not everything may be placed in self-focus only. Pwede din po sa iba't ibang funds na manage ng Fami.
Like for example, in addition to that, Ms. Roda, like for example, if you have yung funds na gusto nyo i-park lang for a while, so we also have the money market fund. Good for 7 days, you can cash out na your money or you can redeem na. So it depends on your investment, really, on your investment objectives. So you can choose any funds aside from self-focus. But the good thing for self-focus is that meron nga kayong rebates or the processing fee, no, na may babalik sa inyo. For those other funds, wala kasi siyang ganun.
Yeah. And that would only be for the co-op funds ha. Yung MIP natin, self-focus lang yun. Ang hirap ng trabaho nun kung lahat individual co-ops i-diversify din natin yung placement ng kanilang pera.
Yes. Self-focus lang yung monthly investment program. But for co-op investment funds, pwedeng kahit saang funds pwede. Kung gusto nyong aggressive, moderate type, or very conservative type, pwede kayong pumunta kahit saan ng funds.
Okay. Ma'am Sally, thank you po. Ma'am Sally, ano po yun, decision ng board of director ng cooperative if we want to invest our money sa aggressive or sa conservative type. Tama po?
Yes, ma'am. And then we also have a guide. So we're going to send you parang 7 questions for us to determine kung based on your investment objective, through that answers, we can recommend or suggest kung ano yung portfolio allocation mix para doon sa investment money nyo. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng, based on your answer, we can assess kung, let us say, 40% will go to equity and 60% will go to money market. So doon natin makikita talaga. Doon natin maa-assess kung saan kayo dapat. So we can help the board of directors na mag-guide sila. Kung hindi nila alam kung para sa investment, gaano ba kalaki yung allocation for the equity, gaano ba kalaki yung allocation for the bonds. So we can guide you on that na.
Thank you, Ma'am Sally. Another question po, lalong dumami po yung question. Sabi ko wala na kanina. Opo. Ma'am Sally, another question po, sa Fami po, as fund manager, you will invest the money of the cooperative both local and international market. Tama po ba?
Lahat po, ma'am, tayo, peso denominated. Local lang. Local siya. Local
medyo mas dynamic na masyado yung international, ma'am.
Opo. Medyo ngayon, ma'am.
Okay.
Although we have a dollar bond fund, no? So, yun lang yung invested yan doon sa mga dollar na mga corporate dollar bond fund ng mga companies. But the rest of the fund, majority talaga is peso denominated siya.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Another from Ma'am Cynthia Uy, our treasurer. Ayan po. So, sa mga nakikinig po sa amin sa FB Live, ganun din po sa Zoom. Alam ko sa FB Live, maraming nakikinig sa amin na non-members. You can contact UNECO po, no? Meron po tayong our contact number 046-419-2882. And then to our invitation, nandiyan naman po yung aming mga cellphone number and email address. No po, you can contact us kahit hindi po kayo member ng UNECO. No po, through UNECO, we will set an appointment with MCN and Fami for the presentation of the investment po sa inyong mga board of director, but through Zoom meeting po. Ayan, so kami po yung kokontakin po ninyo. No? Kindly message us in the comment section po sa ating Facebook Live. Mapapanood nyo po to within 5 days. And then you can also reach us sa aming FB. Also, we have YouTube. Ayan. Ayan, naalala ko si YouTube. Ma'am Roda and Fami, no? Okay lang ba i-upload namin later on sa YouTube itong ating investment forum na in-FB live na natin? Okay lang po ba? Wala po bang intellectual property right or copyrights tayong magiging problema?
On the part of MCN, not a problem, ma'am. Pwede po ninyong i-upload sa YouTube ninyo.
It's okay, ma'am. No problem.
Ayan, wala rin problem sa Fami. Ayan po, lahat na po kasi ng digital platform, pinapatulan na namin ngayon. Ayan po. So, ayan, thank you very much po. It's already 11:08. Ayan, I think wala na pong question. Ay, teka po, mukhang may mga nagpa-pop up pa sa comment section po natin sa FB. Teka. Okay. From Tansa Employees, Multipurpose Cooperative, from Marie Opeña po once again. For MIP, if we see that we have high earnings, can we pull out the investment?
Yes, ma'am. You can pull out anytime. And in fact, usually our financial advisors would advise us to pull if meron po talagang like say extraordinary appreciation dun sa ating investment, they usually would advise us to pull it out and then put it in a safer vehicle para unang-una ma-realize na natin yung gain ng investment at saka pangalawa ma-preserve natin. Pwede po anytime, for so long as your investment is not less than 6 months. Kasi pag below 6 months, you can still pull it out, pero meron pong exit fee of
1%.
1%.
So, I think,
Ma'am Rods,
meron pa ba?
excuse me. Yung parang advisory, ma'am, when it comes to their investment, I think they can request it, kasi kung sobrang dami, it's very hard to manage as well. Kung lahat natin sila tatawagan isa-isa na ito na yung nila performance. By the way, they can they can view naman their statement of account or makikita naman nila investment status nila via our Fami portal website.
Okay, thank you po. Check lang po natin ulit ang comment section ng FB. Sa FB po maraming tanong eh. Sa chatroom po natin walang nagtatanong. Ayan po. Ayan, okay. Thank you daw po from Marie Opeña. So, I think there will be more pop-up question later on. Siguro ipa-forward na lang namin through email sa inyo po, Ma'am Roda, through the MCN.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then, bahala na po siguro si Ma'am Roda with the Fami. And then, yun nga po, and again, once again, no, Infanta, OSPI, yung mga members and non-members po namin na cooperative na nakikinig po ngayon, you can contact us at 419-2882 or at uneco.cuc@gmail.com. I think naka-public naman ang aming mga cellphone number ng opisina. Hindi po namin mga personal number yon. Cellphone number po siya ng opisina. Meron pong Globe, meron pong Smart. Nakikita nyo naman siya sa mga invitation namin sa FB. So you can contact us anytime, anywhere. Yan, for the schedule ng appointment para po sa Salfocus. Wag lang pong Sunday ha. Pero kung talagang yun lang po yung availability, maiintindihan naman namin. Sige po. So I think wala na pong questions sa FB, wala na rin questions sa chatroom. I think andito pa bang aking chairperson? Ayan, Dr. Jojo Domingo. Ayan, Ma'am Roda. And sa MCN, ganun din sa Fami, pasensya na po kayo ha. Hindi nyo ako makita kasi po nag-update ako ng Zoom sa aking laptop kahapon. Nagloko na yung aking camera. Hindi po ako masyadong techy. Bernie, Paki-unmute naman si Doc. Doc, baka gusto niyo pong magbigay ng closing remarks.
Okay na, okay
Doc
na.
Jojo.
Nandito ako sa sasakyan eh. Okay lang ba?
Yes, Sir Joe. Dinig na dinig po kayo.
Okay, Ma'am Roda, thank you so much. MCN and Fami, on behalf of the UNECO, we are very grateful for this opportunity na mapakinggan ang investment opportunity ng mga kooperatiba dito sa UNECO. No? Reggie already mentioned about our plan to be speakers of your board of directors sa mga kooperatiba na member ng UNECO. Should you wish to schedule it, we are so much grateful and we are so much ready to help you. Okay, on behalf again of the UNECO management and board of directors, we thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you, sir.
Stay safe, sir.
Okay, thank you po, Doc Jojo. Naku ma'am, pasensya na may pahabol na question. Tanungin na rin natin. Kaya lang hindi ko sure kung itong nag-question ay may kooperatiba. So dapat ay member po ng co-op ma'am, from Rowena Terovias. Paano po mag-invest as individual? Paano po kung hindi siya member ng co-op?
Magpa-member po kayo if hindi po kayo co-op. However, as
Ayan.
individual, kung ayaw niyong dumaan sa isang kooperatiba, you can go directly to UNECO. Ma'am Reg, kayo na po bahala. Pa-open na lang siya ng isang individual regular account.
Okay, so pwede through UNECO. Ayun po sa mga nakikinig po sa amin sa FB Live. If you are individual, please be a member of cooperative, of course. Dahil kami ay nasa co-op sector, matutulungan po kayo ng kooperatiba. But if you're not ready yet maging member ng co-op, pwede po kayo mag-open ng inyong investment account po through UNECO para po sa SAL, Focus, and Fami. So thank you very much po, Ma'am Roda. I think this is the last question. Last na talaga. Wala na rin akong personal question. Ayan po. So thank you, Ma'am Roda, Ma'am Sally, Ma'am Imelda, Sir, ang pangalan niyo ulit, hindi ko talaga matandaan yung pangalan niya. Sir Bail. Ayan, Sir Bail, Ma'am Paro. Thank you so much for accommodating us once again. Thank you for this partnership. Thank you rin sa aking mga officers na nandito po ngayon for supporting this investment forum. Thank you po, Ma'am Roda. Siguro po, it's already 11:15. Baka kailangan na magluto ng mga kasama natin. Ayan, thank you everyone. Thank you po, Fami. Ayan, so thank you very much po. Bye-bye.
Bye!